What is up, guys? Ronaldo here. Welcome back to the channel. I want to give you an overview of what I'm looking at in the markets right now, what I've been doing in terms of trading as well. So here are all the trades that I'm currently in. If you want more info on like take profits, stop losses, you can check out the Discord down below. Been crushing in there lately, which is not a surprise, obviously. You know, as the market's been coming up, it's one of those rare times where you could do really well. And you know, a lot of patience here we can see, especially on Chainlink, because the when you look at how much you pay in like funding fees, it is quite a bit, but now you're up $2,000, which is really good, and you probably will be able to keep going on Chainlink. You're probably going to be able to keep going. That was a trade I've been in for a while. Most of these are pretty much all swing trades, and ETH I just keep rinsing and repeating. Just putting in some more, setting the stop loss to take profit, and then kind of taking more off. So if you guys want to do this, check out the Discord to see some of those trades. The links down below if you want one free month in the Discord. If you sign up to either BloFin or BYDFI, you get 20% cash back on all your fees for life on both of these. For trading, you can get some bonuses that you can withdraw 600 mil trading volume. You can blow all your money on a waterfront apartment lease in Miami. So great idea. Your supply mouth tape is 600. It does not cost $10 for 6 bananas, I don't think. But anyway, it's pretty funny here. And BYDFI as well. There are deposit bonuses. Both of them are great. I use both of them. I mean, right here I'm using BYDFI, no KYC, no VPN. Check it out. I don't think you're going to find anywhere else 20% of your fees for life. So check it out with my link down below if you're interested. Make sure you open a support ticket with your UID or your email. If you deposit at least $100, give you one free month in the Discord. So let's get into kind of how things are right now. So, the main thing that I've been talking about is it's ETH season. ETH is outperforming Bitcoin. Let's actually look at that chart. ETH's outperforming Bitcoin. Rare bullish signs. I think your 2-month even has a freaking, I don't really look at the 2-month too much, but a deep anchor wave for the first time ever. I mean, you should be able to really recover nicely over the next few months here, and some of these lower time frames just look excellent. You're going to erase all the pain really soon that you saw since like December of last year. I would really hope we can get up. I think you should easily be able to get up to 0.04 here, which is pretty big. So if you're like me and stupidly, well, hindsight's always 20, but stupidly, converted a lot of Bitcoin into ETH and held very strong, you're probably going to be back there, and you got some compound interest. You could earn interest on ETH. So I mean, it is what it is. But ultimately, I would think you would at least get up to this trend line, by October, I would hope. And October is kind of the place where at the earliest I could see everything peaking out, because 18 months after the Bitcoin halving, and if you just do basic, watching what Bitcoin does, it would tell you the peak is in October. I think it'll be somewhere between October to December, but I would start scaling out in October. That's more the kind of the macro thing. And it's always funny. Some people like every single day, oh, price went down 3%. Evanaldo, should I scale out? Should I do that? I mean, it's more about just sticking to that strategy. I held strong on Ethereum through all this, and now I'm very happy that I did. And I mean, I know it sounds very maybe arrogant to say, or fool myself to say, but I wasn't really that afraid. I know what can happen. I've seen these markets happen. There has to be fear. There has to be that type of thing. I'm following a strategy, and you have to be okay with that strategy not working out. If you're very nervous, you're just risking way too much. You know what I mean? You're risking way too much. So it's kind of just following a strategy, and as some people will tell you, just being robotic in some ways can help you. But yeah, Bitcoin, we want to see this kind of go sideways, range bound, hopefully between 116 all the way up to 130. By the end of July, early August is where I would see, it's kind of hard to say here, but I would kind of guess maybe something like this into early August, and then maybe you break down for a summer lull a bit if August, September, kind of a bearish month or something, 15% downward, something like that. We want this to go sideways because that lets ETH, do really well. And then just to show you guys, ETH versus others here, ETH versus altcoins. So, it kind of shows you it's ETH season. And I think this was April of 21, so that was when ETH bottomed out against others in kind of April of 25. So that was that kind of area there. If you're kind of looking at, 4 years apart, March or April, when did it kind of peak out? August, and then your alts did better than ETH there. So maybe I would guess wait for the next pullback, and then on the recovery, that alts will finally start to outperform Ethereum and do really well. I was watching Crypto Face's video earlier. He said potentially ETH could end up at a new all-time high relatively soon. I think, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but a few weeks is possible. And I think it's absolutely possible, because if you break through 4,000, if you can get to 4,000, before August or whatever, you probably can break upward towards your new all-time high before that pullback. So I would guess either your pullback would be sometime in August like this off of this area, and then you'd probably get a pullback to, let's say, probably not that bad, but I would say at least 20%, 20 to 25%, 3,100, 3,200, something like that. Or what I'm hoping for, kind of best case scenario, I would say, into August, something like this, new all-time high. I don't know. Things are going nuts. Who the hell knows what's going to happen here? But, something like that, and then back down to like 30%, 35. The more she goes up, the more she'll probably come back 20 to 30% down. And then, after that kind of pullback, I would assume that's where you really, do really well into, somewhere before the end of the year, October, the earliest, I guess, and hopefully get my major target, which is going to be around, big fib level 7,300. It doesn't have to get that high. Maybe it'll just peak out at like, if this is October, 5,500, it could peak out. I don't think it would go any higher than that, but somewhere around here, I would guess you'd be at in October, somewhere between that old all-time high all the way up to 7,400 there. So that's kind of your place to kind of scale out there. And yeah, it ultimately still looks really good. There's no like major kind of like bearish signs here. And if you look at money flow here, I think what would give you the real kind of sell signal would probably be like your next 3-week red dot, I would guess. Yeah, 3-week would be a good time frame for this, because look at this and then the little trigger wave to the downside. So, and then trigger wave to the downside brings you into your next bear market, which in some time, okay, I'm on 2, it's probably going to bottom out in 2026, but you come up, and then sometime in 26 you come back down. My guess would be 2,000 or 1,800, because that's what history would tell you. But I think we're a little premature to be talking about that right now. But yeah, and so ultimately that's that. In terms of short term, I think you got a good shot at 4,000 this week at least, maybe even higher. Bitcoin dominance, not going to spend a ton of time on this, but you're in a similar situation, I think, to more delayed version of what you saw over here. Substitute like January 21 for July of 25. You're about 6 months, six months late, but this bottomed out in May of 21. So 5 months plus July would be end of year. This would bottom out, kind of, at least that first bottom there. So that's what I would kind of guess, and probably down to this point at least. So things are looking pretty good. And if we look at a couple altcoins that, feel legacy alts, just in general altcoins, I think they're going to do pretty well as well. I think most of them will continue to bleed against Ethereum, probably for another month at least, maybe into the eventual, next rate cut in September, it would most likely be. You have the trigger wave right here. Cardano looks fantastic. I had Jason Casper on the channel. Shout out to Jason Casper the other day. And he said potentially, I don't remember the exact thing. I know he said $5. I'm pretty sure it could be a potential, or even higher. I would say my low point would be like 225. Mid to high point would be $5, and like best case scenario would be $8. I think there's a lot of potential here for next few months into the end of the year. So yeah, and AVAX is it's been lagging, but now it's coming up, and a lot of these coins have good kind of technical targets, which if you can break above where we are right now, which the odds are very high that you can, $40. So a lot of money, I think, could come into this. And then, who knows what's going to happen. To make a new all-time high, you kind of need, a 7 to 8x or something. Well, less than that, but like maybe a 5x. So 5, 6x. It's, or 7x, I think. Sorry. It's doable. Something like that. It's definitely doable, but I would hope for, at least 100, a 3 to 4, 3 to 4x. I'm just saying numbers all over the place, but you get what I'm saying. I don't know if you're gonna make an all-time high, but you can probably at least get to $60 to, 100 again, which would be great. Dogecoin, a lot of trading volume on this lately, and it's, trying to jump up to these points. Your technical target, my guess is I don't think she has it in her to make a, completely new all-time high, but I think you can easily get back up to, that 50-cent mark, and then hopefully break above there into October and end of year potentially at the old all-time high for some type of, double top thing like that. So I'm in a Doge trade. I usually get wrecked whenever I trade it, but so far so good this time. So yeah. And then Solana, I think, can do pretty well here. Should be able to break upward to 240 to 260 next, and then I think you got an eventual target. I mean, where would this end of year? Maybe 400. I mean, it depends. I think you can make a true new all-time high here. Some of these, though, if you factor inflation, I don't know if this really was a new all-time high yet, but I would hope for at least a double. Yeah, I would really hope for 400. I don't see why you can't double. Get to 200 billion market cap. I don't see why not. XRP against the Dixie, which people would argue this is not in my opinion, this is a pretty good indicator, like price, adjusted for inflation. And you made a slight, new all-time high so far, like a very, very slight new all-time high so far, based on that, 2018 peak, I think, yeah. So, I mean, where could this go? XRP in general, let's just look at the normal one here. I mean, my XRP target has always been for a long time. You could look back on this somewhere between like $4.50 to $6, $4-6, that can vary. And so, I mean, you're at 350 right now. I don't know if she's got a double in her. I hope I'm wrong, but at least 30 to 70%, I think could be definitely doable here. A couple other ones that I like right now, crypto.com. I mean, if you break upward from here, which you kind of already are doing, you should be able to get back up to 22 cents, maybe 24 cents. A double within a few weeks is definitely possible. It's like all that consolidation, you jump up, you know what I mean? So when she moves quickly. So, I don't know if it's going to be, that good like there, but, something like this definitely could be possible up to that 21 cent mark, by early to mid-August, I would hope for. So that's what I'm looking at right now. The other thing I wanted to show you guys, where was it? Yeah, Crypto Fear and Greed. This is interesting too, because most of the time when we come up to extreme greed, you're kind of at the end. You have a pullback. We didn't get there yet this time. You didn't get there that last time either, like in May. But I mean, that was alts weren't doing too much there. But I mean, you may be able, like if you look at this, like within 2 or 3 weeks, you can get to that extreme greed, and that would probably foreshadow, if ETH is especially like I would kind of it's not that high right now, especially with ETH with all this recovery, but. So that would tell me too, and funding rates as well, guys. I want to show you guys funding rates. Not bad at all, at least on BYDFI. So that would kind of foreshadow, that old all-time high, retesting that old all-time high sometime in early August, and then rejecting there and potentially, retesting that, that 4,000 or maybe going below it, 3,500, something like that. I mean, your summer low is usually 20 to 30%. So, that kind of area like that could be doable there. So yeah, that's what I would be looking at that right there, looking at that potentially. But as of right now, I think we're going to keep going. Check out the Discord. We had a lot of good trades in there. Got Nightshade doing well in there, and KMAC, and check that out. Again, if you guys want the 20% of your fees for life, BloFin and BYDFI have some good trading bonuses, deposit bonuses as well. So check that out if you guys are interested. Always remember to smash the like button if you enjoyed the content. I'll see you guys really soon. Goodbye.